Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have somewhat of a different video for you guys, as you can tell by the title. But before we get into this, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. Also subscribe down below if you haven't already. Hit, punch, do whatever you want to that notification bell button so you know when I make new videos. Yep. Alright, so basically we have a lot to discuss. I did write a bunch of notes. So I just want to make sure that I cover everything and don't leave anything out. Alright, before you step into any place that does any type of waxing, you want to make sure that they are a licensed esthetician or a cosmetologist. If they are a nail tech, they are not licensed to wax. So if you go into a nail salon, ask for a license for an esthetician or a cosmetologist. Otherwise, don't even go there. So the reason why you don't want to go into a nail salon, especially get waxed by a nail salon, I'll get into that in a little bit. Another tip for you when you're looking for somewhere to go to get waxed, you definitely want to go on Yelp, Google, or Facebook, wherever they have their reviews, and just really read into them. If there's a lot of negative ones, definitely not go there. And you know, if they have a lot of good ones, that's awesome. One of the reasons why is you want to see how clean this is. You want to see if they are treating their guests right, or you know, just the techniques, and also it's nice too to know who you can depend on, like if they have reviews about me, for instance, or somebody like named Sarah or Jamie, or you know, anybody with that, like that you can really trust, basically, with your vagina, your peephole, your punani, your pukenking, whatever you call your lady business. They're going to take care of you and you're just going to have an amazing wax. Alright, so with that being said, the next thing is knowing the difference between soft and hard wax. So there's actually 3 types of wax out there. There is hard wax, soft wax, and sugaring. So basically the difference between all of that is hard wax is basically, it's a formula that's a little bit thicker that you apply on thick, and it's a no strip wax. So basically when you apply it, you just rip it off after a couple seconds or so. While soft wax, which is also called a strip wax, it's kind of hot and it's a very thin consistency when you lay it down, but you need a strip to rip it off.
Fantastic. Ooh. Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
It's me.
Suck it, motherfucker!
And the last one is sugaring. I don't really know how to describe sugaring because I've never done it, and I always forget what it is. But basically, that's a different type of thing, and we're not going to get into that. With hard wax, it's basically a stripless wax, and it adheres to your hair and not your skin, which is really nice, especially sensitive skin. You're going to want to do hard wax rather than soft wax. So with soft wax, you can't go over the area more than once. You definitely will feel a lot of irritation. So especially in your, you know, your lady business, your punani, your pukenking, you really don't want soft wax there. And I don't know how people have gotten the vagina wax with strip wax, because that shit hurts. Like, say for instance, I put wax right over here where I don't really have any hair. Or say for instance, like I've already waxed before and I lay a strip down where there's no hair with soft wax. Even when I rip it off, I could be taking off another layer of skin and I can bruise myself and irritate it and lift the skin. While with soft wax, since there's no hair there, it's not going to hurt when I pull it off, you know what I mean? And you're not irritating the skin. I say about nail salons, most of the time they have only strip wax. They never have any hard wax because hard wax is a lot more expensive. They don't even test the temperature on you. They won't even test it on themselves. If you go to a place that uses strip wax and they don't test it on themselves, you need to walk out the door and get the fuck out of there and do not go back. Because I have a friend whose mom went to a nail salon for her lip wax and it was too hot. She complained about it and she's like, oh, it's okay, you'll be fine. But later that night, her lip was getting really irritated right before she went to sleep. Woke up the next day with 3rd-degree burns, basically. So, and you guys already know what that looks like, and it's not really pretty. So please, if you are going to take your chances, please ask for their license to see it, just so you know. If they're anything other than a cosmetologist or a esthetician and they don't have their license with them, do not get waxed by them, please. So the next thing basically is how to prepare for a Brazilian wax. So the first most important thing that you want to do before a Brazilian wax is stop fucking shaving. Fuck! This is literally the basis of why you're getting a Brazilian wax. You don't want to shave anymore. You don't want those razor burns. You don't want those ingrown hairs. And you don't want the damn thickness of those hairs from shaving. I know you don't. And if that's why you're watching this video, basically. So, I'll give you a little bit of a scenario. So, I have some guests that come into my room wanting to get waxed because they're going on vacation. They're either going to like Italy, Bahamas, Guam, Hawaii, like places basically that need to be waxed because they're going to be in a bikini, and you know they have beaches and stuff there, so they don't want to have furriness, be jungle. But they'll drop their chonies and stuff like that, and I look down and their hair is not long enough. And the reason being is I asked them and I'm like, hey, when's the last time you shaved? And they go 2 to 3 days ago. That's a really, really long time. You know, I thought this would be long enough, and I literally have to tell them, hey, like, you know what, it's not long enough. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to wax you. And a lot of times, especially if this is like their first time getting waxed, and they're like, well, can you do something because I'm going on vacation tomorrow? And I literally either have to tell them, you're going to be in so much pain, I'm really not going to get a lot of hair out, or I would just rather you shave and then come back after growing it out. Just letting y'all know, you ladies that want to get a Brazilian wax, please let your hair grow. Stop shaving and let it grow, okay? Lashes, our arm hairs, our punani hairs, our hair, you know, that's on our head. They have a hair growth cycle of 3 of them. There's anagen, catagen, and telogen. And basically what that means is there's a growth stage, a resting stage, and a departing stage, as I would say. Planning on waxing, you can either A, wait a full 8 weeks so that full hair growth cycle is already set, so when you rip it out, you are good. Or B, you can wait 2 to 3 weeks for the hair growth. I know it's going to be very, very hard, especially after shaving, but when you come in, we'll still be able to wax you, but just know by the 3rd wax or so, 3rd or 4th wax, your hair will be on that same growth cycle and everything will start to come out. I don't ever recommend the 8 weeks just because who wants to be hairy and bushy for that long? Am I right? I put in caps, do not come in 2 to 3 days after shaving, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. If you're watching this and you have a trip coming up, please start getting waxed a month before, so that you get used to it. That way by your 2nd wax is going to be right before your trip. At least that's what I recommend. So the next part of this how to prepare is basically exfoliating. So if you guys don't know what exfoliating is, I'm pretty sure half of you guys do, and if you don't, you know how we exfoliate our face to make sure we get rid of those dead skin cells. Well, we also do that for your vagina area, your lady parts, your punani, your bukinking, everything you want to call it. We also can exfoliate the arms, the underarms, legs, basically anywhere you want to wax or even shave, it's best to exfoliate. The reason for that is basically when your hair is not exfoliated, it's like this, and then when you exfoliate, it's like boom. So basically it makes waxing or shaving a lot more easier. When you wax, it basically will help grab it out like butter, and that's what we want, because let me tell you, if you do not exfoliate, especially the day before or of, it's gonna hurt even more than you are already anticipating. So there are a couple ways of exfoliating. So one is the loofah. I don't really always recommend that just because it does exfoliate, but I feel like it's not enough, especially it's not that much. 2, there's gloves. I feel like those ones work a lot better than the loofah. There's also a chemical exfoliation, which basically is fruit enzymes which eat away at the dead skin cells. And there is also a manual, which is basically a scrub, like a sugar scrub, that you put on your vagina, use 2 to 3 times a week, and you just rub it in. You don't see your dead skin cells come off right away, but you start to feel the softness of that. So, if you've been waxing already and have been to a waxing place, you already know that you should be exfoliating at least 2 to 3 times a week. So if you've never exfoliated before, before your appointment, I would try to do 3 days in a row of exfoliating. That way you can really eat away all that dead skin cells and your hair is gonna for sure come out. But of course, when you're exfoliating, don't like rub it into your skin. Just do it lightly. You don't need too much. It's gonna be too abrasive and your skin's gonna be irritated, and we do not want that. So before we even get into the appointment stuff, you wanna make an appointment. I recommend calling in for an appointment instead of walking in, because one, you'll for sure get in, and two, you won't be sidetracked or whatever, so you won't be like, oh, okay, well, this and that, because of these tips that I'm about to give you. So the first thing is you definitely want to wear loose clothing, just because tight clothes cause irritation. So if you were to wear jeans, some tight leggings, you don't want to wear that, I promise you. If you can, please go to your wax, either in I would say granny panties, maybe a loose thong, and or free ball in it, because I would rather you free ball it than anything. And just please wear loose clothing, just because again, this causes irritation, and if you're like rubbing against it, you can get ingrown hairs that way, and we don't want that. The reason why you're coming in to get waxed is because you want to have no ingrowns, no bumps, no stuff, you know what I mean? This is going to be your first time ever. Please do not come in while you are on your period, especially for your first time, because you will cry. You will die. I'm just kidding, but you might cry. You will be more in pain, just because when you are on your period, you will feel very sensitive to pain. And I say this with not a light heart, I'm saying it hardcore. You do not want to do this, because trust me, I've had people walk out of the building because they were like, this is too much, and I'm like, you're in your period, huh? And they're like, yes. And of course I can see, because they have a tampon in. You are a strong one and want to come in on your period, just put a tampon in straight up there and just leave it in there, and we will take care of the rest. Another thing is too, if this is your first time or you've had them and it still hurts you, definitely take an ibuprofen 30 minutes beforehand, or Advil, whatever it is, whatever kind of painkiller, Vicodin, I don't know, just something to calm you down and just help you with the pain, because that one will help you, especially if it's your first time. Me personally, mama ain't raised no bitch, so I went in there and cried, but I still took it like a man on my first time. So is if you are a coffee drinker, yes, I'm talking to you caffeinated heads, sorry to burst your bubble, but you do not want to drink coffee before your wax. And if you need it in the morning, make a later appointment, or just don't drink coffee before your wax, drink it right after, just because when you have all that caffeine, even soda, I think, and I'm like, I drink soda all the time and I'm like, oh shit. But basically, when you have all that caffeine, your senses get all fucked up and your skin gets very sensitive. So when you come in for a wax, you will scream and you will die as well as like on your period. And I've had people that have come in for their first time, they're basically high on caffeine and on their period. Like, that's basically a triple threat. Like, why would you do that to yourself? But you know, they get through it and I'm happy for them. Alright, so basically now we're gonna go into during the service. First of all, guys, be fucking courteous of your wax specialist and yourself. When I say this, I mean go to the bathroom, do your business, and wipe yourself. Wipe it with a wet wipe. Most places will have wet wipes in there for you to really cleanse yourself and really get in the butt crack area, because we don't want no dingleberries. Trust me, it's not a pretty sight for us. But we won't say anything to you guys. We will carry on, but just know we are disgusted by y'all. Two with that is shower beforehand. And if you, like I said, and if you can't shower right before your appointment, if you're coming from work, shoot to the bathroom and go and wipe yourself. If you need to wipe yourself in the room too, we have wipes in there. Don't be afraid. We're gonna see your vagina anyways. We'll throw it away. There's a trash can. Don't worry, your vagina is safe with us. You know that it's really disgusting. We have there's some people that are like, oh my gosh, it's so disgusting how people can come in on their period, but you know, I just came from the gym and I feel better, you know, I feel good. And it's like, honey, with the people on their period, at least they have a tampon and we don't smell anything. You just came from the gym or kickboxing and you're sweating, your vagina is moist, and I can smell you. Just know that you're moist and I can smell the vagina fumes. And I do it, but man, I have to be like, I have to really breathe out of my mouth rather than in my nose, just because I do not want to smell your workout. I can smell your workout from here. Period. Put on a tampon. Yeah, it will hurt, but it does get better. So again, with that being said, please wear loose clothing. Just know that your first wax and the wax after shaving, between waxes, is going to be the worst. So just letting you know, again, with that whole growth cycle, basically the more you come, the less likely it will hurt as bad as the first time. I promise you. And you will notice a difference. I'm spitting at the camera, but whatever. But you will notice a difference in your hair. So when you come in, it's really, really thick. But after a while, you're going to notice it within the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks that your hair is growing. It's going to be a lot more thinner. And just know over time, your hair is going to be a lot more thinner. It won't fully go away, but maybe after a couple years, who knows? And even if you want a more permanent thing, I would definitely try laser, but of course you're going to have to go back to waxing or shaving because the laser will not pick up those white or gray hairs. I don't know this personally, but somebody told me, so you know, if y'all didn't know, your vagina, your punani, your pukenking, it will have white hair and gray hair. Just like on our head, you will get it down there. I know, right? It's fucking weird. During the wax. So basically, when you step into the room, it's going to be depending on where you go. So if you were to go into a spa, they usually will leave the room and then come back when you're undressed and whatnot. But if you go into a typical place that just waxes you in and out, it will be in a well-lit area so we can really see your vagina and go, wow, out. What's going to happen is that when you get in, especially your first time, please don't be nervous. You're in good hands for a reason, especially if you pick this person off of Yelp and they have a lot of good reviews. You pick this person because you wanted them to be the one to wax you. So don't be shy. Literally, as an esthetician and waxing so many vaginas now, I'm pretty much desensitized to them. Vaginas don't gross me out unless there's dingleberries, there's like stuff squirting at my face, which has not happened, but I really would not like that to happen. We just want you to get on the bed so we can get to our business and make some money, you know what I mean? And make you feel beautiful, honestly. Because when you do get waxed, you feel like a whole new person. Like me, I feel like a naked mole rat down there, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels amazing, especially the results. But yeah, so when you get into the room, just don't be shy, just take it off and get on the bed. Every time they should be cleansing you, and if they need to, powder you. I always powder my first time guests for Brazilians because one, they're very nervous and they're very anxious, so you know they're gonna start sweating, and sweating with wax doesn't mix because the wax will not lay and it'll just kind of just come off. It doesn't stick very well to wet stuff. So we use the powder. It's not a baby powder, but we use a certain type of powder that's good for the skin, just because baby powder isn't, and that will help absorb the powder. But of course, you also want to make sure that they don't put too much powder. So for me, I personally just sprinkle it like salpe. I'm like, you know what I mean? So I sprinkle a little bit and rub it in. And don't worry if we're rubbing and touching you. That's our job. We're not trying to arouse you. We are not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. You're already making yourself feel uncomfortable by paying for this service to get your vagina waxed. So we're going to be all up in there, okay? We're going to open up your lips. Personally, I go so like this sometimes just to take a look and see what we're dealing with. But just know that it's going to happen during a Brazilian wax. So please, again, just be patient, be calm. Don't be nervous because, of course, we're going to take good care of you. Another thing too that helped me so much as an esthetician as well as a client for getting Brazilians is holding your skin taut. Basically, it's holding it, you know, tight. What I tell my clients to do even before we start is to basically hold their stomach and bring it all the way to their titties. Like, I'm going to show you like this way upwards, because with that, it's going to make the wax so much easier for you and for me. This is because we're stretching it and it's gonna be nice. It's smooth, even application, just because, you know, me, I have a lot of rolls. It's harder for us big girls to get waxed because of all the crevices and all the folds, but you know what? We do it and we get through it. So as long as you hold it tight, it'll be so much easier. Plus, that helps you with the pain. When you hold it, you don't feel it as much as you would when you're letting go. Another thing too is to take deep breaths and exhale when the strip is being pulled. So sometimes we'll baby you and we'll be like 1, 2, breathe in, and then we're about to rip it off. Like when do you see the one I'm doing? When I pulled it, I went. So that's another tip I definitely recommend to do, especially for you first timers, because this will honestly make the service go so much more smoother for both you and me, and especially for you and with the pain. And honestly, the pain doesn't last for 40 minutes to an hour. It literally lasts for like 2 seconds or maybe at least a minute. It'll kind of sting a little bit. And just know that with the hard wax, we will be going a couple times over it, but your skin won't get irritated unless you are very, very sensitive. And with that, just know that when we're waxing it and we've waxed over it and there's not as much hair, the wax will be a little bit more hotter in those areas, especially because there's no hair. So just know that. But of course, let your therapist or your wax specialist know that it's getting really, really hot. So yeah, that's something you want to know during. We're going to go ahead and talk about aftercare. So basically with the aftercare, you best, like I said in the beginning, you want to wear loose clothing. Again, this is because if you go outside and it's blazing hot and you're rubbing all over the place, it's going to cause irritation and you're going to sweat, and that's going to have ingrown hairs and bumps, and we do not want that. Another thing is to exfoliate, exfoliate, exfoliate. Even after your wax, you still want to exfoliate, not after your wax. Maybe 2 days after your wax, you want to start exfoliating again, and then make it that 2 to 3 times a week, because you want to make sure that the hairs will be able to stick up and those dead skin cells are gone, that top layer, that epidermis. And definitely no pool that's chlorinated, no gym. I would say even not the beach for at least 24 hours. But if you do, make sure you have these bad boys. So this is the ingrown hair wipes from European Wax Center. This is really good to have if you want to do all those things, just because you don't want to get ingrown hairs. Because if you do those things, especially sweat, you're going to get oil in your follicles, and that's what causes, you know, pimples and stuff like that. We really, really do not want that. So if you guys have ever used this, this is amazing product. It also has growth inhibitors, which are basically the stuff that makes your hair grow slower, and we like that, right? Because I know I do. We always recommend you to come in 3 to 4 weeks for a Brazilian wax. And basically I say that for almost every waxing service that anybody gets. It's about 3 to 4 weeks, just because that's when the hair grows back, and it just makes it a lot easier. Because if you do wait anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks or 8 weeks or even like years, your hair, it's gonna hurt. Sometimes it will get thicker again, and also it just hurts like a bitch. Just letting y'all know. And don't forget too, if you are waxing and your hair is way too long, that's okay. I trim it at least. I know there's some people that do and some people that don't. If it's really too long and they're not trimming it, ask them to trim it for you, because I'm pretty sure they should be able to, because I know I do. I'm not going to put you through the pain. That already hurts enough, especially if it's your first time. You know what I mean? During the waxing session is that your waxer, not only you, but your waxer holds your skin taut. So say for instance, we're in the labia area. We want to hold it down at the bottom before we're waxing, because otherwise that's going to cause irritation, and it's going to hurt you, especially when we flick it. When we flick it, I have to make a lip and whatnot. So the only thing that sucks though is about hard wax is that sometimes when we're making a lip, basically, which is what we're going to use to rip, to pull it off, sometimes it breaks. Don't be alarmed. We know what to do. Do not freak out. I know the flick of it, especially down in the bottom parts, especially towards your butt, sometimes people have more hair there and it gets caught and it's really hard to do, but just know we will get it out for you and you will be okay. Make sure that the waxer is putting pressure in those areas. Some people say that our vagina doesn't need pressure, but me being a little bitch ass baby, when I get waxed, I need all the pressure I can get. So basically after they rip it, pressure, rip it, pressure. If there's no pressure, ask them for pressure, and if they're not doing enough pressure, ask them to do it harder. As well as some areas will hurt more than others. Of course, that is a given. Some people feel like the bikini line area is more hurtful than the actual lips, and some people even think the butt part hurts more. So just know that it'll be different for everybody, but for the most part, it's that. I'll tell you a little bit of the differences of waxes for the bikini area. So we have the bikini line, which is literally the bikini line. So if you are wearing granny underwear or the like a bikini, it's literally like the triangle. How do you do a triangle? I'm stupid. So literally like this, it's going to be the top part and the sides. Bikini full, which is basically the full frontal, including the lips. So we get inside the labia still, but we do not include the butt strip. For the Brazilian, it's basically, again, the full frontal area, the bikini full, plus a butt strip, which makes it a Brazilian. We do not do the butt cheeks. If you want to do that, that's an add-on service. A recap of everything is make sure you exfoliate in the shower, or if you use a chemical exfoliator, which eats out the dead skin cells, you want to use that before the shower. Wear loose clothing. If you can, go commando. Take Advil, take ibuprofen, Tylenol 30 minutes before your service if you do not want too much pain. No coffee at least 30 minutes to an hour before, or not at all. Do not shave. That's a fucking given. Especially don't do any activities that involve sweating after wax. Wait at least 24 to 48 hours for the follicles to close. That way you don't get any ingrown hairs if you need to. If you're going to go home and shower, take a colder shower. That just makes it softer and, you know, just kind of close up, whatever. Basically, here's some things. These are some bad practices that you want to look out for. And that way you can get the fuck out of there. Basically, cleanliness. If you want to make sure that the place isn't trashed, it's not dirty, you want to make sure they're wearing gloves, they're not double dipping, so they're not taking a stick and putting it in there and then dipping it again. Make sure they're throwing each individual stick out, that they're holding this, if they're not holding the skin taut while they're waxing you, your skin tight, as well as no pressure, because pressure really makes or breaks it. If you don't put it, it really hurts a lot. And another thing too is just, you know, not being friendly. If they're not friendly, you know, it's kind of awkward for you, especially because you're the one getting that wax, you know. Exfoliate or like do pre-care is the body wash, which is honestly just a body wash, but just want to let you guys know too that these have growth inhibitors, which make the hair grow a lot slower. But these ones have little beads that is gentle to use enough every day, and this also, I believe, is a pH balancer, so basically that. And then we have the body polish. This is something that you want to use 2 to 3 times a week. Basically, they call this a gommage type of exfoliation, which means it's beads that you feel it and you have to wash it away. While with the chemical one, it kind of goes on like a serum, which we also have at the center. You apply it on, and basically when you're rubbing it in, you'll see your dead skin cells. I wish I had that in front of me, but I don't. But basically those are the 2 that we have. There's actually 3, but one's for face and one's for body. But those are really amazing. And what's really nice about all the European Wax Center products is that they're tested for pregnant, like, you know, for pregnant people, and it's pregnant people safe, pregnant women safe. Again, like I said earlier, this is going to target those ingrown hairs, and it has growth inhibitors, so a lot of people really like these ones compared to the serum. So don't be discouraged by all these other people's videos out there for their first Brazilian and that it hurt, just because now you have these tips and basically tips and tricks to have a better Brazilian wax. I promise you, honestly, the first time is always the worst, but after you keep coming, it gets better. And honestly, who wants to have really thick ass hair? I know I don't. So please make sure you educate yourself with getting waxed. And if you do decide to, I hope these tips and tricks really helped you. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I really hope this video helped you. Please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe down below, and I'll see you in my next video.